The ship floated slowly in the deep dark of space, broken and silent like a forgotten grave inside. A young alien girl named Ayla sat on the cold metal floor. Her back against a wall, her eyes half open, her lips were dry, her skin pale, and her hands were shaking. The lights inside the ship were almost gone. Only one red emergency light blinked again and again like a weak heartbeat. Outside the small window she could see nothing but stars. Cold and far away, there was no sound, no voice, no hope. She had sent her last message 2 days ago. Please help. I'm alone.
Oxygen low?
But no answer came, no ship passed by, no rescue came now. Her oxygen level was close to 0. She had stopped counting hours. She just sat and waited for death. It felt like the only thing left, no tears came now. Even crying took too much energy. Ayla was not from this part of the galaxy. She had been running from something or someone. She did not even know where she was now. Her ship was hit during the escape, systems failed, and power was lost. The engine died, the food was gone, the heating stopped. But she didn't feel cold anymore, she didn't feel much at all. Her eyes moved slowly to a photo stuck on the wall. It showed a group of smiling alien children. She was one of them. Happier, brighter, alive. All of them were gone now. She was the last one left, and soon she would be gone too. She closed her eyes, she let herself drift. Maybe sleep would come, maybe a dream. But then something changed, a sound very soft. A flicker on the screen near her foot. Her eyes opened, slow and unsure. The screen was dark for hours, but now it blinked, not red, not yellow, but green. One word flashed on the screen. Signal detected. Her heart jumped, but only a little. She was too weak to feel full hope. Still, her hand moved, slow like stone, and tapped the control pad. The signal was weak, very weak, but it was real. Ayla stared, trying to read it. The message was human code. She knew only a little of their language, but the meaning was clear. Scanning unknown wreck. Approaching. A ship, a human ship, coming here, coming to her. She tried to sit up straight but fell back. Her body shook, her chest burned, her breath came in gasps. Too late, she thought, even if they come. I may be gone before they arrive, but still. She smiled, just a little. Not because she would live. She didn't know that. But because someone heard her. Someone chose to come. She whispered, her voice like wind. Don't die yet, not yet, far in space. A small ship moved closer. Inside it, a man named Reese sat at the controls. He was not supposed to stop, but when he heard the old signal, something in the voice made him turn his ship. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what danger might wait, but he knew one thing. He couldn't leave her to die alone. As he flew toward the wreck, he whispered, Hold on. Whoever you are, I'm coming, back on the broken ship. Ayla blinked slowly, her vision was blurry, her fingers numb. The green light blinked again, this time brighter. Something in the stars seemed to move. She saw a shadow, no, a shape, a ship. Coming closer, it was real, with her last bit of strength. She pressed the door beacon. A weak blue light flashed outside the wreck. A signal for boarding. Her eyes closed, she didn't know if they would open again. But her heart, so close to stopping, beat once more. And far across the stars, something more than fate had begun. Because this meeting was not random. This moment would change everything, and soon, the stars would burn brighter than ever before. Commander Reese Halden flew through deep space with a silent ship and a heavy heart. He was a soldier, trained to follow orders. Not feelings, but today something was wrong. Something wouldn't let him go straight. His mission was simple. Deliver a small package of tech parts to a quiet research station on the edge of human territory. No delays, no detours, no stops. He had made that trip 100 times before. He should have arrived already, but an old, broken signal had changed everything. 3 hours ago, his ship's AI, called Lana, picked up a distress call. Unknown vessel, life signs weak. Signal very old. Origin unknown. Normally, Reese would have ignored it. The message was almost 4 days old, probably too late. And it came from a dead zone. No planets, no stations. Nothing but quiet stars and space junk. Even pirates avoided that zone, but the voice in that message, it was soft, tired, and full of pain. And though distorted, it didn't sound human. Something about it made Reese stop and think. He listened to the message 3 times. He didn't understand the language completely. But he heard the fear. He heard the loneliness. He sat there staring at the screen. Then he said quietly, Lana, plot a course to that signal. The AI answered. Warning, unauthorized detour will violate current orders. I know, Reese replied. He didn't care, he just knew. Someone was still alive out there. As the ship changed course, Reese leaned back in his seat. He stared out into the dark. He had seen so much war, so much death. He thought he had nothing left to care about. But now, one weak voice had lit a fire inside him. 2 hours later, the ship reached the edge of the dead zone. Reese slowed down, watching every sensor. The stars here seemed colder, dimmer. The only thing ahead was a tiny wreck floating alone. Half the ship was broken. Parts frozen, power almost gone, Reese whispered. Is this the one? Lana replied, match found, signal source confirmed. He moved closer. Carefully, no signs of weapons, no life signs at first, but then a soft pulse, very faint. Lana, confirm, he said. Life detected, the AI replied. One humanoid form? Very weak, Reese narrowed his eyes. No rescue ships had come here. No pirates around, just one small girl. Alone in the dark, he felt a chill, not from fear, but from something deeper. He grabbed his helmet, sealed his suit, and entered the airlock. He stepped into the docking tube, slowly crossing to the wreck. Inside, it smelled like burnt wires and silence. The lights were almost dead, flickering blue and red. Then, in the corner, he saw her. She was slumped against the wall, skin pale like moonlight. She didn't move, but her chest rose slowly. Softly, her hair was white, long, tangled. Her arms were thin, too thin, and her face so young, yet so tired. He knelt beside her. Hey, he said softly. I'm not here to hurt you. No answer. He touched her wrist, cold, but still a pulse. He lifted her gently, like holding a bird with broken wings. She was light, too light. He carried her back to his ship, every step filled with care. Once inside, he placed her in the med pod. The machine scanned her quickly. Alien species? Unknown, Lana said. Reese watched the screen. Her organs were damaged, oxygen low, blood strange. But the med pod began healing her slowly. He sat beside the pod, staring at her through the glass. Who was she? Why was she out here? And why did no one come for her? The more he looked at her, the more questions filled his mind. She didn't look dangerous. She looked like someone who had suffered too much. Someone who had waited too long, later that night, while checking her vitals again. The pod beeped. Her fingers moved slightly. Her eyes blinked open for a second, and she whispered something in a language he didn't know. Then she fell asleep again. But that one moment, that tiny voice made Reese sure of one thing. He had done the right thing. Even if it cost him everything, he couldn't explain why. But he knew this was just the beginning. In the quiet of the ship, Reese spoke to the stars. I don't know who you are, girl, but I'm going to keep you alive. He didn't see the flicker on the outer screen. Far behind, in the black distance, a ship blinked in and out of view. No ID, no call sign. Just a silent predator watching, because saving her had started something. Something big, something deadly. The hum of the med pod filled the ship. Soft and steady like a heartbeat, Commander Reese Halden sat beside it, his tired eyes watching the small alien girl breathe. She had been unconscious for almost 2 days. Her skin had color again, her heartbeat was stable, but she hadn't spoken since that one faint whisper. He didn't even know her name, yet he felt a strange pull toward her, like fate had wrapped a thin thread between them. The ship floated in silent space, far from any signal or planet. Reese had switched off most systems to stay hidden. He didn't know who might come looking for her, but his gut told him someone would. He wasn't supposed to be here, he wasn't supposed to care. But orders didn't mean much anymore. He looked at the scanner results again. Lana, his ship's AI, had been studying her DNA for hours. Every time it tried to complete a scan, the system glitched. Lana, report, Reese said quietly. The AI replied in its calm tone. Her biology is incompatible with human databases. Her cells emit low-frequency light waves. Unknown energy pattern detected under skin surface, Reese frowned. Energy pattern? Like radiation? Negative, Lana said, more like a signal. Organic and controlled. He stared at the med pod. The girl's skin shimmered faintly under the light, like it carried its own stars inside. He didn't understand it, but he felt something powerful there, something ancient. He rubbed his hands through his hair and sighed. What are you? He whispered. The med pod beeped, her pulse rose slightly. Then her eyes opened, slow and confused. Reese stood quickly. Hey, easy, easy, he said softly. Her gaze moved from the lights to his face. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She looked scared. He lifted his hands to show he meant no harm. "You're safe," he said gently. "You're on my ship." She blinked, trying to understand. Then, in a quiet, shaky voice, she spoke one word, Ayla, her name. Rhys smiled a little. "Ayla," he repeated. She nodded weakly, then whispered, "Where am I?" He explained everything slowly, how he found her ship, how she was almost gone, how he couldn't just leave her. She listened with wide eyes. Her voice trembled as she said, "No one ever comes back for us." That sentence hit him harder than he expected. He asked gently, "Us?" But she looked away. Her hands trembled as she tried to sit up. Rhys helped her, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. Her body felt light, fragile. But there was fire in her eyes, not fear, something else. Like she was carrying a secret too heavy to hold. He brought her water. She held the cup with shaking fingers, then asked, "Why? Did you stop?" Rhys looked at her, surprised. He thought for a moment before answering. "Because someone needed help." Ayla studied his face like she was trying to see the truth behind his words. Finally, she whispered, "You shouldn't have," he frowned. "What do you mean?" She didn't answer. Her hand brushed her neck, and Rhys saw a small mark there, like a glowing symbol hidden under her skin. When she noticed his eyes, she pulled the blanket higher. "Please," she said softly, "don't ask." Rhys nodded, but his mind was full of questions. Lana's voice broke the silence. "Commander, an anomaly detected." He turned. "What now?" "The medpod energy levels are rising on their own," the AI said. The glass of the pod began to glow faint blue. A pattern spread across it like starlight flowing in veins. Then the glow faded, leaving silence again. Ayla looked frightened, she whispered. "It's happening again." Rhys leaned closer. "What's happening?" She shook her head. "They'll find us." "They always do." Before he could ask more, an alarm flashed on the screen. A motion signal. Far away but closing fast, Lana spoke. "Unidentified vessel entering range." Rhys cursed under his breath. He knew it was too soon for random travelers. Someone was tracking her. He turned to Ayla. "Who are they?" She closed her eyes, her voice trembling. "They're not people," she said. "They hunt what they create." Rhys didn't understand, but he saw the terror in her eyes. She wasn't lying. He grabbed his gear and ran to the cockpit. "Lana, activate stealth field, full silent mode." "Confirmed," the AI replied. As the field activated, the stars around them blurred slightly. The ship vanished from most scanners. Rhys returned to Ayla's side. She sat quietly, clutching the blanket like armor. He knelt down and said softly, "Whatever's coming, they won't take you." For the first time, she looked directly into his eyes. There was something there, something glowing faint under her skin again. Like tiny constellations waking up, she whispered, "If they find me, it's not just me they'll destroy." He frowned. "Then what?" Her voice was almost a whisper. "They'll destroy the stars themselves." The ship went silent again. Rhys didn't know what she meant, but deep inside, he understood one thing. Saving her had started something much bigger than either of them, something that might decide the fate of worlds. Outside, in the endless dark, a black ship moved closer. No lights, no sound, just a shadow sliding between stars. And inside that shadow, someone whispered, "Target reacquired." The stars looked calm from the outside, but inside Rhys's ship, pressure was rising like a silent storm. Commander Rhys Halden watched the radar screen. His jaw tight, an unknown ship was approaching fast. No ID, no signal, no warning. Just a black shape in the middle of space. Moving without sound, Lana, the ship's AI, spoke in a calm voice. "Unidentified vessel closing at 2,000 clicks per minute. Silent drive active." No radio, no response. Rhys didn't answer right away. He already knew this wasn't a rescue. This was a hunter. Behind him, Ayla stood at the door. Weak but alert, her hands trembled. Not from sickness, but from fear she knew too well. She looked at the screen and whispered, "They found me." Rhys turned to her. "Who are they?" Her voice was hollow, distant. "They don't have a name," she said. "They steal names, burn homes, erase stars." Rhys had heard rumors in deep space. Ghost ships, black markets, alien labs, but he'd never believed them. Now he stood beside living proof. "They killed your people?" he asked. Ayla nodded slowly, her eyes filling with shadows. "We were not soldiers," she said. "We were just gifted. They took us, they tested us, they broke us. Reese felt his fists tighten. What did they want? Her voice cracked. Our light. Before he could ask more, the ship's lights flickered once. A low pulse ran through the floor. Lana warned. Stealth field unstable. The enemy is scanning us with unknown tech. Drop stealth, Reese ordered. Charge shields, arm cannons. The AI obeyed. Outside, the human ship powered up. Engines glowing faint blue in the dark. The black ship responded, turning like a beast that smelled prey. Its shape was wrong, too smooth, too silent. Like a shadow pretending to be metal, Reese aimed the cannons but didn't fire yet. He needed time. Time to understand what he was fighting. Time to protect Ayla. Suddenly a voice came through the comms. Not a human voice, not even a normal one. It was like many whispers together. Cold and crawling. Return the asset, it said. Do not interfere. Ayla backed away from the screen, her breath shaky. They don't talk like that, she whispered. That's not a voice, it's a command. Reese didn't flinch. He leaned forward and answered. No, the enemy ship stopped for a second, then launched a warning blast. It passed just beside Reese's ship. A message, not an attack, yet it made the whole hull shake. They're playing with us, Reese said. They don't see us as a threat. Ayla looked at him. Scared and confused. What are you doing? Reese's voice was steady. I'm choosing. He stood and walked to the weapons panel. You said they break stars, he said. Let's break them first, but Ayla stepped in front of him. No, not yet, she said. If we fight now, we die. They're stronger. They're faster. But they don't know I've awakened. Reese looked into her eyes. What does that mean? She placed a hand over her chest. My light is not just energy, she said. It's memory. It's voice. It's power. They wanted it because they fear it. She closed her eyes and whispered something in her language. A soft glow appeared on her skin, lines of light moving like rivers under her arms. The lights inside the ship brightened, screens blinked, and the AI voice glitched for a second. Reese stepped back, watching in awe. What are you doing? Ayla opened her glowing eyes, calling the stars. Outside, the enemy ship paused. Its weapons did not fire. Its engines dimmed for a moment as if something was watching it now. Lana came back online, her voice shaky. Unknown interference. All systems. Temporarily linked to subject Ayla. Reese looked at her again. This time,
not as a survivor, but as a force. We still need to run, she said softly.
I can only confuse them for a short time. Reese nodded. He jumped into the pilot seat. Lana, plot emergency jump coordinates anywhere outside this sector. Confirmed, the AI replied. As the ship prepared to jump, Ayla held the walls like she could feel space itself. She whispered again, her voice blending with the ship's hum. The stars outside seemed to shimmer brighter. The enemy ship suddenly broke formation and fired again. This time, real shots, Reese shouted. Hold on. He hit the thrusters and the ship spun sharply. Dodging the first wave, one hit struck the side, but shields held. Jump in 10 seconds, Lana said. Ayla fell to her knees, the light fading from her skin. I can't hold it anymore. Reese reached her, held her close. Just a few more seconds, he said. Stay with me. The stars ahead twisted, turning into a tunnel of light behind them. The black ship screamed through the void, but they were already gone. In the silence that followed, the space where they had been grew cold again, and in the enemy ship, a voice whispered through the shadows. She has awakened. The ship jumped out of warp with a sharp flash, landing in a quiet corner of space. No planets, no ships, no voices, only silence. The stars around them seemed calm, but inside the ship everything was shaking. Reese rushed to the back room where Ayla lay on the floor. Weak and pale, her skin, which once glowed with light, was now dull and cold. Reese dropped beside her, lifting her gently. Hey, stay with me, he said. But she didn't open her eyes. He carried her back to the med pod and placed her inside. The machine beeped and began scanning her body again. Lana, the ship's AI, spoke softly. Subject Ayla's vitals are unstable. Energy reserves depleted. Reese looked at her. Guilt rising in his chest, she had saved them. Used her power to protect the ship. Now she was paying the price. He sat beside the pod and held her hand. It was cold, too cold, he whispered. Why did you help me? Why do this for someone like me? A few hours passed and Ayla finally opened her eyes. She saw Reese sleeping in the chair, his arms crossed, his head low. Quietly, she sat up, still weak but breathing. She looked at him for a long moment, then whispered, "Because you came back." Reese opened his eyes slowly, surprised. "You're awake," he said. Standing up quickly, Ayla smiled weakly. "You didn't leave me," she said. "No one has ever stayed this long." He nodded, sitting back down. "I told you. I don't leave people behind." She looked at her hand. Her skin had stopped glowing. "I used too much," she said. "I burned what was left inside me." Reese frowned. "What exactly is inside you?" Ayla looked out the window into the stars. "My people were born close to the heart of the galaxy," she said. "The core fed us with light. We called it the breath of the stars." Reese listened closely. "We didn't use weapons," she continued. "We shaped energy with thought, with feeling, but only when bonded." "Bonded?" he asked. She nodded. "We shared our energy with someone we trusted completely, a protector." Her eyes met his. "When I touched you, something opened." Reese felt a strange warmth in his chest. He remembered the moment their hands met, the way the ship responded. The light, the power. "I've never been bonded before," she said, her voice soft. "But when I touched you, the stars responded." Reese looked at her with wonder. "So what does that mean for us?" Before she could answer, an alarm beeped. Lana's voice echoed. "Unknown energy detected." Inside the ship, Reese jumped up, checking the screens. No enemy ships nearby, no breaches. But the readings came from inside the walls. Then the lights flickered, and the ship shook. Ayla's eyes widened. "They've left a trace," she said. "They marked my light. Now they follow wherever I go," Reese cursed under his breath. "Then we can't run anymore. We need to fight." "But you can't fight them alone," she said. "And I can't protect you unless we finish the bond." Reese looked at her, unsure. "What does that mean?" Ayla stood slowly, placing a hand over his heart. "It means you let me in. You let my light become part of you. If you agree, we become one voice." Reese didn't speak for a moment. He thought of the danger, the risk, the unknown. But he also thought of her eyes, her voice, her courage. He reached up and placed his hand over hers. "I'm in," he said. In that moment, a soft golden glow rose between them. Their breath synced, their hearts beat together, and the ship itself responded. Panels lit up, engines hummed louder. Lana's voice stuttered for a second. Connection detected between pilot and alien subject. Energy level rising, then a wave of light burst across the ship. Not fire, not heat, pure emotion, memories of Ayla's home. Her laughter, her pain, her escape, flashed through Reese's mind like a dream. He saw everything, felt everything. And she saw his life too, his battles, his losses. His loneliness. When it was over, they both staggered back, breathing hard. But their eyes were brighter. The bond was real, Ayla whispered. "Now we share the fire," Reese smiled. "Let's use it." Suddenly, another warning appeared on the screen. The enemy ship had found their trail again. Reese stood, no longer afraid. "Then let's show them what happens when fire meets shadow." The stars outside burned a little brighter. Because two hearts had become one and the war had only just begun. The stars no longer looked silent. They shimmered like they were watching, waiting ready for something big inside the ship. Commander Reese stood at the control deck, his hand resting over the throttle. Beside him, Ayla sat with her eyes closed, a soft golden light glowing beneath her skin. The bond between them was complete now. He felt her heartbeat inside his own. He didn't know how, but he knew they were different now. Lana's voice echoed through the ship. "Warning, 3 hostile ships detected. Incoming at high velocity." Reese didn't flinch. He glanced at Ayla, who opened her eyes slowly. "They're not here to capture me this time," she said softly. "They're here to erase everything." Reese locked his seatbelt. "Then let's give them a reason to fail." The enemy ships broke from warp, black and sharp like knives in space. They moved with perfect silence, no lights, no signals. They circled Reese's ship like wolves around wounded prey. But this time they weren't the hunters. Reese activated the weapon system. The panels glowed brighter than ever before. Lana spoke again, her voice slightly changed. "Power levels exceeding design limits. Ship core reacting to bonded energy." Ayla stepped forward and placed both hands on the control panel. Suddenly, the ship's lights turned gold. The metal walls seemed to breathe. The engine hummed like a living heart. I've never done this with a human before, she whispered. Rhys grinned. I've never fought with a star goddess before either. The first enemy ship fired, a pulse blast flew toward them. Cutting through space like lightning, Rhys moved the ship to dodge. But before he could touch the controls, the ship moved on its own. It spun tilted and slipped through the blast like it had a mind of its own. Was that you? Rhys asked. No, Ayla whispered. It was us. The second enemy ship charged forward. Cannons glowing, Rhys launched counter-missiles. But Ayla raised her hand and the missiles curved mid-flight. They struck the enemy ship's engines and tore it apart. Rhys stared, shocked. You can bend weapons? Only when we are fully linked, she said. I couldn't before, but now. I can feel every part of the ship. The third ship opened a comms channel. A voice came through filled with many layers. You cannot protect her. You will both be forgotten. Ayla stepped forward. Her voice firm. No, she said, you will. She spread her hands, and light burst from her body like a sunrise. The ship around them lit up and the dark space turned gold. Rhys raised his arms to cover his eyes when the light faded. The enemy ships were damaged, shaking. Confused, disoriented, Rhys didn't wait. He launched forward, full speed, weapons firing. The blasts moved faster, stronger, powered by Ayla's energy. Each shot hit its target, and one ship exploded in fire and metal. The second tried to escape, but Rhys caught it with a sharp turn and a focused blast. Silence followed. Only one ship remained, the leader. It hovered, watching, waiting. Rhys aimed his weapons. Let's finish this, he said. But Ayla touched his shoulder. No, she said. Let them carry the message, Rhys understood. He powered down the cannons. The last enemy ship turned and vanished into the stars. Behind them, space was quiet again. But it wasn't the same. They had changed something. They had announced their power. Lana spoke again. Long-range scans show no more threats in the area. Broadcast detected from multiple sectors. News of your battle is spreading. Rhys looked out the window. Smoke and fire floated where the enemy ships had burned. Among the stars, their names would be remembered. Ayla sat down slowly, tired but peaceful. They will come again, she said. Yes, Rhys replied. But we'll be ready. She looked at him. Do you regret bonding with me? He shook his head. No, he said. For the first time, I feel alive again, she smiled. And for the first time, I feel safe. They sat in silence for a moment, watching the golden light flicker through the ship. Their hands touched, fingers locking gently. A soft warmth passed between them, not fire, not power, but something softer, something human outside. The sky burned with what they had done. Stories would travel, whispers would spread, and people across galaxies would ask, who were they? What kind of fire did they carry? The answer would come from the stars themselves. Their names would be written in light, not as soldiers, not as enemies, but as something new, something strong, something beautiful. The stars were calm again, but it was the calm before the final storm. Inside the ship, Rhys stared at the wide black screen. It showed dozens of ships, all moving toward one place, not pirates. Not random hunters, the main fleet, the ones who had taken Ayla's people. The ones who called themselves shadows beside him. Ayla stood with her hands resting on the console. Her glow was dimmer than before. Every battle took more out of her, but her eyes were still bright, stronger than fear. They're gathering near the dead halo, Rhys said. A place where light could barely reach. A place where stars went to die. They want to end it all there, Ayla whispered. They think no one will follow them into the dark. Rhys tightened his hands on the controls. Then that's exactly where we go. Ayla looked at him with soft eyes. You don't have to do this, I do, he said. Because I'm not just your protector anymore. I'm your partner, Lana's voice chimed in. Jump coordinates locked. Final destination, dead halo. The ship jumped into hyperspace. Streaks of starlight flew past them like rivers of fire. Their journey had started in silence. Now it raced toward a storm. They arrived near the edge of the halo. A field of broken moons and burned-out stars surrounded them. In the center, the enemy fleet waited. A black fortress ship hovered in the dark, huge, sharp, alive with death. Ayla took a deep breath. I can feel them, she said. They're scared, Rhys raised an eyebrow. They brought an army and they're scared? She nodded. They feel us now. Rhys activated the weapons system. The ship responded instantly, pulsing with golden light, Lana said. Energy sync between pilot and subject Ayla, 100%. Ship core fully awakened. One by one, enemy ships moved into attack formation. Cannons charged, missiles loaded, they were ready for war. But this time, so were Reese and Ayla. They flew straight into the heart of the fleet. Cannons firing, shields glowing, each time the enemy tried to surround them. Ayla bent space itself, they slipped through gaps. Curved around lasers, dodged death. They fought like fire and wind. Reese flew with perfect control. Ayla guided the energy like it was music. One ship fell, then another. The others hesitated. They had never seen power used like this, with feeling, but the fortress ship stayed still, watching, waiting, calculating. Then it opened. A black beam of pure energy fired toward them. Too fast, too strong, Reese turned hard. But it wasn't enough. The beam hit the side of the ship. An explosion shook everything. Lights flashed, Lana stuttered, warning. Damage to core. Systems unstable. Ayla fell to her knees, her light flickered. I can't. Hold it anymore, she whispered. Reese caught her, holding her close. Don't talk like that, he said. We made it this far. She touched his face, her fingers warm. If we keep fighting, we both die, she said softly. But if I go alone, I can finish it, Reese shook his head. No, he said. We fight together or not at all. But Ayla smiled, her eyes full of light, full of love. You gave me something I never had, she whispered. A choice. She placed her hand over the ship's control core. Her body began to glow again, brighter than ever. Golden veins of light spread across the walls. Lana, listen, she said. Final command, full energy transfer to the pilot. Lana hesitated. Subject Ayla. This will end your life, I know, she said. But it will save his. Reese tried to stop her, but she kissed his forehead. Live, she said. Tell our story. A final wave of light exploded through the ship. The enemy fleet froze in place. The fortress ship cracked at its center. And from the light, Ayla's voice filled the stars. You broke us, you hunted us, but you could never erase us. The fortress exploded in silence. No fire, no sound, just light. And when the light faded, Ayla was gone. Reese stood alone in the quiet ship, but he wasn't truly alone. She was part of the ship now, part of the stars. He flew away slowly, past the wreckage, past the silence. He opened a channel to every corner of the galaxy, and he spoke. Her name was Ayla. She was fire, she was light, she was hope. People listened. People remembered, and in time they told her story to others. To children, to fighters, to survivors. The stars carried her name. The darkness remembered her light. And somewhere far away, when someone felt lost, they would look up and whisper, "Thank you, Ayla," because even in the end, two sparks had faced the darkness and lit up the sky forever.